Coming up on this episode of the Home Pros Radio Show, we got tips for caring for your Christmas tree. Also, some tips on identifying your any power bill spikes. Something that's important is this, I guess, in the atmosphere of this economy. And, of course, it's the winter months. We want to take care of our energy and what we're spending on it. Also, do you know what happens when you flush the toilet? Well, we have a viral video going out. Everyone's been talking about it. We're going to share it with you. Maybe you want to shut that lid the next time you hit that handle. That's all coming up on our news desk. That plus more in about 1 minute on the Home Pros Radio Show.
The Home Pros Radio Show. Brought to you by Prime Lending. Home loans made simple. Welcome to the Home Pros Radio Show, the premier resource for the well-informed homeowner. With over 30 years of combined home inspection and renovation experience, your hosts, Tommy Donovan and Shane Hips, help you stay on top of your home improvement and home maintenance needs. Visit homeprosradio.com to access the trusted product and service providers that are a part of our Home Pros network. Find the Home Pros Radio Show on Facebook and Twitter for regular show updates and additional information on the topics covered on our show. To join the conversation, call 248-HOME-PROS. And now, your Home Pros, Tommy Donovan and Shane Hips.
And welcome to the Home Pros Radio Show, your source for the advice, tips, and tricks that every homeowner needs to make sure your home is in the best shape possible. I'm Tommy Donovan with RIC Home Inspections.
And I'm Shane Hips with Closing Contractor.
Thanks for joining us this week. 4 days before Christmas, so we're getting ready.
Oh, yeah.
You feel ready? Like I should have some Christmas music queued up or something, but no.
Just sing. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Are you ready for Christmas?
No.
Are we
we're
ever?
Getting there. No, I don't think you ever. I don't think you are ever ready. There's always something else that needs to be done. Always something, and then Christmas comes, and you're like, I wish I would have thought of this or that. And
yeah, and I mean,
there's always something.
And it's not going to slow down anyway. It's going to get here just the same, so you might as well just be like, okay, well, I'll be ready enough.
That's right.
Me not being ready is not going to stop it.
That's true. But, yeah, I'm sure. I mean, the basics get done.
Yeah.
Everyone takes care of the obvious stuff, like making sure that they're getting certain gifts. There's always a couple of gifts that I'm like, I forgot this or that.
Yeah.
And, of course, the decorations, the obvious things like the Christmas trees, getting them up in the house and all that. That's been done. It was a little slow for us to do that. See, it used to be when our kids were younger, it would be like Thanksgiving would roll around, and then it'd be like, Mom, Dad,
yeah,
let's put up a Christmas decorations and all that. Now that the kids are older, it's not that kind of
yeah. That's how
anymore.
That's how mine is. And, I only have my daughter half the time, so – and then we kept putting it off. Mm-hmm. It's like, Charlie, let's put up the tree this time. Oh, why don't we do it the next week when I'm here? I'm like, okay, we'll do that, So, but then it still didn't happen.
Yeah. Because
Charlie's birthday is on the 19th, so.
Oh, that's right.
And I have her every Monday and Tuesday and every other weekend. So we had not done it the previous Monday and Tuesday because she said, let's just put it off till next Monday and Tuesday. But then we're celebrating her birthday on that Monday and Tuesday, and one of them consisted of going out to eat. And, after we go out to eat, we get home, last thing we're going to do is put up a Christmas tree. Just all that stuff. And it's like, well, so, I was definitely slow about it myself. If I didn't have family coming over on Christmas Eve, I probably wouldn't even put it up.
Well, we have a December baby, too. In fact, our daughter's birthday is tomorrow, our oldest, and it's like, we always try to separate the two. I don't know. It's always hard. It's like, as a parent, you're always tempted to go, all right, what did I get her for Christmas? Let's just give her that one right there for her birthday or whatever.
You called me out right there. That's exactly what
do you do that
just
too?
Pick one of them, whichever one it is. This looks, that'd make a good birthday present.
You want to do something that's special.
Yeah.
And then the thing, too, is she can never have a birthday party because you're like, she wants to have friends over. And they're like, it's so close to Christmas. They're like, well, we already have plans. We got this, that.
It is. It was like through elementary school and all, it was so hard to do that with her. I mean, it was about impossible to have a birthday. But, but she's actually going to have, or she actually going to have it this year because it's her Sweet 16. But she didn't want to necessarily, or per se, Sweet 16, but she did want a gathering.
You want to make it
So have
somewhat
something special, So we're doing that, and but yeah, she's those December birthdays. It's very. Oh, the one thing I was going to say, but yeah, one thing I do, although I pick one of the things to be separate. Mm-hmm. I don't wrap it in Christmas present or Christmas wrapping paper. I make sure to do that.
Oh,
one.
yes.
Yeah. Don't wrap them all and then pick one.
Oh,
make
my
sure
gosh.
you pick
I'm
it.
glad you brought that up because, oh, my gosh.
You want to make somebody mad.
If you do that to my daughter and give her a birthday present wrapped in Christmas
With
paper.
Santa Claus on it.
Oh, you want to get canceled.
Yeah, you get us canceled immediately.
It's like using the N-word.
It's like, you ain't doing that.
Yeah, you never want to do that.
Yes.
Never want to mix the two. Keep it special.
Yeah, everyone that I know that has a birthday close to Christmas, they're very specific on that. They don't want no Christmas wrapping paper for their presents or gift bags or whatever. And I'd recommend even if you use the gift bags, don't give them a red one because they're going to assume that's Christmas. Don't give a red one. Don't give a green one. I'd stay away from white too. Get something colorful.
Yeah, there you go. Something other than red or green.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Gotcha. Well, one of the things that we like to talk about every year, and we like to share these tips from the National Christmas Tree Association. RealChristmasTrees.org is their website. I think last year we had a video that we shared. You have a real tree or a fake tree?
Fake.
Do you? We do too.
Yeah.
I like the real tree.
Yeah.
But you have something to say about it, don't you?
I'm just not going to cut down.
You're off.
Your microphone's off.
I like the real tree because of the smell and that sort of thing. But
I can get a bottle of gin to do that. I open a bottle of gin, put it under my
that's
Christmas
what I like
tree.
That's what I like to do at the lake house if we have the fake tree up. I like to get at least a Christmas candle that you can light. You just get the smell, and it's small enough there where you can smell it. What were you going to say?
I'm not going to cut down
a tree just for decorate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
It's those are my favorite trees on top of it.
That's true. Being from Minnesota, Ginger's favorite trees are the evergreens and things. That's what you grew up with.
The conifers, yeah.
Yeah, well, you need to bring one inside then.
Well,
That's it.
I would totally buy one if it was a ball one we could plant it afterwards.
Yeah.
I got you. Well, I don't like the maintenance of a real tree. I mean, I get it. People want it for the smell and all that. But the fact that you have to keep it watered, the fact that you're going to be cleaning up stuff off the floor after the fact, those are it's like, I'm pretty much simplest.
Yeah.
I go the easy way on most things.
Yeah.
It's like, why not just keep it simple?
Well, for those of you who are out there who do have real trees, there are some recommendations, and I guess we'll go off of what we have on the slides here because I think we might be in a different order here on my sheet.
Oh, okay.
Use an adequate stand, obviously. You want to get a stand that's appropriately sized for your tree. Stands should provide, we think about size, we think about the diameter of the trunk.
Right.
But we also want to think about the pan that's underneath, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So you want a pan that at least provides 1 quart of water per inch of the stem diameter. Devices are available to help maintain a constant water level in the stand. Those are out there. Use a stand that fits your tree. You never want to get a tree that's too big and the trunk or stem is too big for the stand and you're tapering it down to try to fit it in.
Whittle it like a pencil.
Yeah, like a pencil sharpener. So you want to do that. Make a fresh cut to remove about a 1/2 inch thick of disc wood from the base of the trunk before putting the tree in the stand. Many of you may have even already done that because we're just days away from Christmas at this point. But interesting information to share. Make the cut perpendicular to the tree stem or trunk. You don't want to go at an angle.
Yeah.
That makes me think. Honestly, we were talking about TikTok videos and stuff like that earlier. Maybe this is a sidebar, but I always love the videos you see on TikTok of people cutting down trees.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff people do. I should probably share those. They get creative. Anyway, that was kind of
off the wall.
Let's
hey,
focus.
It's okay.
Yeah. Here's a good hint that I know some people think of. I know I've heard of, or may have even tried, is drilling a hole.
I've never heard, or I don't know anything about this one.
Drilling a hole in the base of the trunk, excuse me, does not help with water intake.
Oh, so people think
Some
you
people
drill a
think
hole
that drilling
in it.
a hole. Now, I've drilled a hole in tree trunks when I'm trying to kill the tree.
Right.
When I'm trying
That's
to
a little
insert
different.
herbicide into it, but
Yeah.
I guess there are people out there that drill a hole in the trunk, think that that's going to help with water. No. So
Yeah. It gets all it needs from the bottom if you
yeah.
just cut it.
yeah. So that does not help. Get the tree in water ASAP.
Okay.
Generally speaking, your tree can survive once it's cut, about 6 to 8 hours, but you don't want to push it
Yeah.
because they will start drying up, and we don't want brittle trees in your house. We'll talk about that as we move on with this.
With Christmas lights hanging all over
Yeah,
them.
exactly.
At least now they're LED, so they don't get as hot. But
yeah.
but still.
Yeah. Next item on the list, water temperature does not matter, so don't stress out about that when you're putting water in the base of the trunk. And then
I would never even think about water temperature. I'm sitting here.
it's a good-
Whatever comes out of the sink.
Room, yeah.
Hey.
tap water. You never know if you get a finicky tree. Keep your tree away from heat sources, especially if it's drying out. You don't want to actually, create a situation where you're going to cause a fire hazard, just like we were mentioning. Keep away from heat sources. Make sure that, the good thing is so many Christmas tree lights and all that stuff are now LED and all that help. But make sure that the water level does not go below the base of the tree to keep it from drying out. Keep it away from heat. Fireplaces. This is something to think about. I mean, don't have your tree too close to a fireplace.
Yeah. Especially
any space heaters, heat vents, direct sunlight will dry out your tree. Lower the room temperature if needed.
Okay.
To keep the tree from drying out. So that's an interesting tip. I don't have to worry about that in my house because
It's cold in there all the time.
I have a wife who's from Minnesota who likes it to feel like Christmas around the house this time of year. I'm just roasty. Use of lights that produce low heat, such as miniature lights, will reduce the drying out of the tree. And then after Christmas, or if the tree is very dry, just get it out of the house.
Yes.
Don't keep it around.
Yep. Get it out of there.
Yeah.
Give it to a fisherman. They'll go throw it in a lake somewhere.
That's what we did one year. We threw it in the... And then I don't know whatever happened to it. It was weird.
You put it in the lake?
Yeah. We have the lake where we are is very clear. So if you throw something in, you'll see it there for quite some time.
Maybe a big old fish drug it out.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess I don't know.
They said I could make a good home out of this. Let
Yeah.
me go put this somewhere else
don't
where those
know.
people don't keep looking at me right there.
Yeah, that's right. Who knows? So I figured that they'd like that. But yeah. Oh, and now that those are tips from National Christmas Tree Association, realchristmastree.org. Now it's time to go to our photo from the field.
What are you looking at? I know what I'm doing.
This is the time of year every year that we're usually sharing like really cool Christmas decorations. None of that. And even in Halloween.
Yeah.
Even Halloween, we didn't really run into any of those stories about people like. I went with dead bodies outside their house and stuff. Well, Christmas, nothing real creative this year. Which usually there's something that goes viral about something that people do.
Right.
This was you got.
Nothing. I was just gonna get political.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
No, it's just, it makes you wonder why they're not doing it.
What? It kind of does. Because, it used to be every week there was something new about, oh, look what they did outside their house. They synced up their lights to music and all that. We don't see that. But I found this in my archives. I've been wanting to share this for a couple of years on the show. This is...
What is it? I know what the thing is, but what is it made out of?
What it is, it's a... what are they? From Despicable Me.
It's a minion. I know
The
it's
Minions.
a minion, but I wonder what the...
So I just was like, this is so funny because do you know what it is? Go to the next slide.
Oh, okay.
It's a cable box.
Okay.
It's a cable box that, if you have something in your yard that you want to kind of decorate or that kind of sticks out like a sore thumb, usually like a cable box or a electrical transfer box or any of those things.
Yeah.
I always like it when, I just thought it was cute.
I wonder what the utility I wonder if they care. You know,
I know, right?
I would think they care. I would think
Yeah.
that's like, hey, that's our property. Don't touch it.
Because they'd have to get in it.
Right. So
They have
well,
maybe
I guess
they have to take the glasses off in order to get inside.
I mean, I
always
guess
wondered.
if you just paint it,
It totally looks just like a Minion.
it
And you can
does.
see it right from way down the street. I wish I could remember where I took this picture so I can go back and check it out.
Oh, is it around here?
Yeah, it's around
Okay.
here. I'm in Simpsonville.
Okay.
So it's cool to see people that have really cool.
Yeah.
I remember the one time we had propane company on the show, and people have their propane tanks outside to hold their gas, and we thought it was really cool because somebody painted theirs like a caterpillar.
Yeah.
And the propane guy was like, "Not a good idea," and we're like, "Really?" And they're like, "No, you don't want to paint dark colors on them because they'll
Get hot.
They'll it'll collect heat.
Yeah.
You want to just keep them white." And I was like, "Well, you're no fun."
You just took all our fun
I
away.
know, right?
Uh-huh.
So I just thought that was cool. I love seeing
Yeah.
homeowners get creative.
Definitely
So
creative.
that's, I guess, our festive photo from the field.
That's as festive as
for
we
the
can be
season.
right now.
Yeah. So
Okay.
anyway, well, we'll get serious when we come back on the Home Pros Radio Show. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to bring back one of my more favorite segments that we've covered on the show, related to power bill spikes. This is an idea that you had to cover probably back when we first started, and I did some research. Well, how do I identify if you have a power bill spike on your bill? Like if you're all of a sudden, everyone's so conscious about what they're spending on energy these days.
Mm-hmm.
This could be some helpful tips, plural. So we'll get to those after we take this quick break. We'll be right back on the Home Pros Radio Show.
If you're a home service provider who takes pride in your work and strives to be recognized as a trustworthy professional in your industry, the Home Pros Radio Show wants to hear from you.
Become a Home Pros Radio Show partner. Send us an email at ask@homeprosradio.com.
Your Home Pros Radio Show Expo listing and your featured appearances on our podcast are just the beginning when it comes to the ways that we can help brand your business on the Home Pros Radio Show.
It's a great opportunity. It's just an email away. Ask@homeprosradio.com.
And welcome back to the Home Pros Radio Show. I'm Tommy Donovan with RIC Home Inspections, and I find stuff.
And I'm Shane Hips, the closing contractor, and I fix stuff.
Yeah, and we're welcome to the show. We were talking about, like we promised, power bill spikes.
Mm-hmm.
And as an electrician, this is an idea that you had come up with to cover on the show previously. We're bringing this segment back. I find it very interesting. I guess this is something that you've had experience with Closing Contractor and stuff, just helping people troubleshoot.
Yeah, because people will call and say, "Hey, my power bill jumped this month," or whatever. And sometimes it's the time of year where your heater just started working.
A lot of people think, "Oh, the power company's trying to screw us."
Yeah. I mean,
it could be a number of different things.
Yeah, based on whatever time of year it is. Has anything changed? So forth, so on. And so, there's certain things that whenever a power bill jumps up that I will check first, just to make sure, that that because it's the most obvious things that could be causing it.
Yeah.
One, I mean, I haven't seen the list, but the first one that comes to mind is the water heater. If there's a leak, and not a power leak, it's a leak, like a water leak from a water heater.
Yeah.
Because your water heater is going to constantly be running because it's always dumping out that hot water, and more cold water is getting put in that water heater, so it's running.
That's a good point.
And a TNP or TPR valve,
Yeah,
same
that's
thing.
leaking.
If it leaks, because all that water is
And
running
it's
out.
heated water.
Yes. So all that hot water is running out, and then it's just constantly refilling with cold water, which has to be heated. So it's, but yeah, that's the first place I look anytime someone tells me that they have a power bill spike or whatever. I'm like, check
Which
your water
poses-
heater.
Yeah, which would create the question of, okay, well, you notice in a spike in your utilities or your power bill. Is it just in your power bill, or are you also seeing it in your water bill? 'Cause
Right.
something like that
Yes.
would also raise the water. So that would be an immediate,
Yes.
I guess, check down, if you will, to determine what the cause might be.
Yes.
So that's a very good point. I see that a lot, too, because people aren't aware of things like temperature and pressure relief valves and what they do. They see that pipe that might be routed to the outside of their house and it's dripping, and they're thinking, oh, it's for the air conditioner.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then you go over and feel it, and you're like, it's hot. So, but yeah. I mean, I saw there was a house. This was an interesting point that was brought up on a house that I was in earlier this week. I was doing a re-inspection on a house that I didn't inspect, so I didn't know what the original report fully said. But the house they were actually replacing all the ductwork before closing.
Okay.
And when I went under the house to look at, they hadn't replaced the ductwork yet when I was there, but when I went under the house to check other things, like whether or not they replaced the sill under the front porch or clean the mold off of the framing under the living room,
Right.
I was like, I was talking to the home buyer, and I was like, well, the ducts look fine to me. I mean, they haven't replaced them yet, but I didn't see an issue with them. And he was explaining how that when it wasn't even identified in the original home inspection report. I think when somebody was down there doing repairs and taking things apart,
Right.
they found water in the ductwork.
Right.
And in the good graces of the seller, they were like, you know what, we're just going to replace it all for you, which is cool. But
Yeah.
I mean, anyway, water was backing up out of a drain line from an HVAC, the condensate drain line.
Right.
And the homeowner never saw. That's a pipe that you should see dripping
Correct.
on the outside of a house during the summer months, and it wasn't ever doing it. And the diagnosis was that
It was dumping right in the ductwork.
It was working. It was a packaged system, and the water was backing its way up and ended up in the ductwork.
Oh, okay.
So
That'd be a lot of water.
Yeah, I know. So I ended up counseling the homeowner, like, how do I know?
Yeah.
How do I know to look for something like that? Because this homeowner obviously didn't. And I was like, know those drain lines on the outside of your house and which ones should be and should not be dripping.
Those are that is something that a lot of people don't understand. More people than what I realize don't understand that. Like which one is supposed to drip, which one's not, which one's over a window, which one's not, where the locations are typically. I've recently realized that more people don't know that than what I originally had thought.
Yeah, there's so much that we assume in our line of work.
Yeah, I'm talking
Everyone
about
knows.
people that are even in construction fields that like maybe
Yeah.
they're plumbers though, and not HVAC,
Okay.
Stuff like that. And it's like I thought they would know that, but you just can't take anything for granted that people know something. I mean, don't ever be afraid to explain it to them because a lot of people don't know things that we may think they know.
Yeah. Well, we're going to help you know about how to troubleshoot a power bill spike. That's a really good point you bring up. First thing is look at any other utilities that might be spiking. That might be an indication of the source. But the next item is, change of season. Now, I saw this one, and I was researching. Sometimes people don't think about, I mean, we whenever we talk about issues like this, we like to start simple and then work our way up.
Yeah.
To the more difficult stuff. Change of season. Sometimes you see a power bill spike, and we've gone from summer to fall,
Yeah.
or from spring to summer, and we haven't adjusted our thermostats
Right.
accordingly if they're programmable.
Right.
So that is one of the obvious things.
Yeah.
So is your thermostat set properly?
Yeah. And your power bill, if you have electric heat, your power bill is going to go up from fall to winter. I mean, it's going to go up. Don't get too used to that low power bills because you came off of summer. Now it's not running that much and it's not running ever. And then all of a sudden it starts going
Well,
because it just got cold.
Well, that makes me just think about the homeowner who doesn't realize that they have a heat pump.
Right.
And they're like, why is my power bill going up? How come the gas bill isn't?
Yeah,
And you're
yeah.
like, well, you have a heat pump. You
Yeah.
don't have a gas furnace. Really? So,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
talk about things that homeowners don't know. I mean, I get that a lot. Like, I'll be standing in a garage looking at a water heater, and I'll have a buyer go, "Is that a gas water heater or an electric water heater?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then, of course, someone like who's in the business would go, "You can't tell." But I mean,
Yeah. But it's
that's what
if
we're
you,
there
if you
for,
don't
is to help.
if you don't work it with it, you may not know.
Yeah. So the next thing would be a broken meter. Now, this is something that's tricky because you can't really tell. There's no way that you can go out there as a homeowner and test. Oh, is my meter broken? You just have to call, I guess, the power company.
The
'cause
power
even
company.
an electrician.
Yeah. If it's this, it's generally gonna be a power company. If you call an electrician, they're gonna say call the power company anyway.
Yeah.
But usually on that, what they'll do is put a meter that actually monitors your power, looks for spikes and stuff, and it stays on your meter for, let's say, 3 days or whatever. Then they'll come back because you can't just look at the meter and tell. Now, if you have one of the old meters, which I don't know when the last time I've seen one of the old meters
With the spinning dial.
yeah, you can see how fast that thing's spinning and be like, "Whoa, that thing's going fast." But with the digital ones, you can't tell the difference. I mean,
true.
it's going to look exactly the same. So they really have to put something on there. I'm not saying you shouldn't call it because a lot of times the electrician may be able to pick something else up before you get somebody to put something on the meter.
Yeah.
But the thing is here, and I do this also with, like, anytime someone thinks they lose one leg of 240, like, say their stove and dryer doesn't work, and half of their house works. So I always tell them to call the power company first because the power company will diagnose that for free. You pay money monthly to the power company, so that's their responsibility to make sure your power is their side of it.
Yeah.
Now, everything after that meter, you own. So, like, if someone calls me with certain things, I'll be like, call the power company first because they're not going to pay you. If I come out there, I'm going to charge you a service call to look at something, and then if it turns out to be the power company anyway, now you just had to pay me for something that the power company would have done for free in the beginning.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That happened to my parents. Like, one half of their house just went out. And they were like, "What? What?" And I was like, "Power company."
yeah.
Because that's not something that's going to be fixed in the box.
Yes. Yeah, I went to one. I went to one yesterday that was it still had the fuse panel in it.
Yeah.
And it had some stuff out, but it had a good bit going on, so I just priced to get rid of it because it just didn't look safe. It didn't look safe, and some of the stuff wasn't working, and I think they just had several problems. But that one, I think, and the meter was still the 100-amp meter on the outside of the house that had disconnects coming off of it going this way. I was like, okay, let's just go ahead and upgrade this whole thing to make it where we don't have a fire soon, basically.
Getting more complicated
Okay.
now.
Okay.
The next item on the list is a voltage leak.
Oh yeah, we're getting.
This can occur in homes where electrical boxes or circuits have been exposed, might be corroded, may have been exposed to water. It's one of the reasons why an electrical panel, if you have an exterior panel, you want to make sure they stay waterproof,
Right.
right?
Okay.
But also, like in a house, in a crawl space, it's why you don't want your electrical laying on the floor of the crawl space. Get it up out of those locations where they could be affected by water, because even a small current leak could cause a big difference in a power bill. It can also be a major shock hazard.
Oh yeah.
So, if you have corrosion like that, what is it that could cause the additional usage of electrical? Maybe shorts in the circuit or things like that, or
I honestly, voltage
inefficient
leak is
use?
not something that I've ever really even looked into. It's pretty. I would say it's pretty uncommon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not. I honestly not familiar enough with it to give my opinion on it. But I can sort of understand where they're coming, where it comes from. If you got significant buildup, but I don't know what is pulling that power that
would create that
would
result?
create it.
Well,
I don't know how
another
that
thing
works.
that would create the result that's more common is just simply old appliances
Yes.
that use more energy. they're guilty of phantom power drains,
Yes.
where power is drawn even when the device is turned off.
Yeah, we have a lot of phantom things that we don't really think of so much that are constantly plugged in, and but old appliances absolutely, and then TVs. I mean
VCRs,
VCRs,
stuff like
all
that.
this stuff, all these things that have lights on them and stuff like that. That's pulling power,
Mm-hmm.
even though you're not using it at all.
Yeah.
Now I'm not saying go unplug the thing and have to reset the clock every time you get ready to use it again and all that, but yeah, old appliances are definitely they can definitely pull a lot of power.
Interesting. And then I guess this kind of leads us to the next item: device charging.
Mm-hmm,
How many devices or things that you have plugged in? Think about that VCR. Are you really still using that VCR? But you have it plugged in, and that display is still blinking.
Yeah.
Or things like I think about this: chargers.
Yes.
How many phones, iPads, laptops, tablets you
Mm-hmm.
have plugged in? And I'm guilty of this. Sometimes I wonder. I plug my phone in at night, even though it's 100% charged at night. I might still plug it in.
Yeah.
And it's still using electricity.
Mm-hmm.
Plugged in devices can suck energy from your home. Unplug adapters from outlets when not charging, and only charge devices when you need them. That's
Mm-hmm.
also good for the batteries, though, too, isn't it?
Yeah. It's recommended on a lot of batteries too. Yes.
To avoid. Well, the first thing is you don't want them to go dead because that can shorten the life of the battery. But don't charge them until you're getting down close to them being empty.
Right. Yeah, and you hear different opinions, and
Sometimes
like a cell phone's not necessarily the same as a drill's rechargeable battery.
Yes.
So different ones work different ways. But
That's a good point. How many? There's so many houses I'm in all the time where I'm in the garage.
yeah.
And they have all of their cordless batteries plugged in.
Yeah, even
Just
though
sitting there.
even though the battery's already charged, and maybe it's not pulling that power, that light's still flashing or
Yeah.
whatever, that it's done or
Yeah.
whatever or on. So yeah, there's a lot of phantom.
And check
Thanks.
the manufacturers of these items, because sometimes charging a battery constantly can shorten the battery's lifespan. But you know what? I'm going to hit it. It depends.
There you go. Went ahead and
Depends
did it.
on the battery.
Mhm. It
So
does.
some do that. Some I think things like tablets and PC or tablets, laptops, and phone batteries are better at that. But some of these like drill batteries and things like that, like tools, are notorious for like if you let them go completely dry
Right.
and then try to recharge them, they don't quite recharge quite the same anymore. But they also their lifespan is shortened if you leave them plugged in all the time. It's tricky. It is tricky, but these are some of the things that you can look for if you're having a power bill spike. And then if you can't find them yourself, always hire an electrician because they can do things like do voltage drop testing and all kinds of different things. So.
And a lot of times, a lot of times it's just knowing what to look at, what to look for. Like I mentioned the water heater a minute ago. They know that's the places to go to see this stuff. Or do you have sometimes it may be your HVAC unit. Maybe the heat strips are running more than what they need to.
Ooh, that's a good point.
So, but if you think,
I'm glad you brought that up.
or did you accidentally? I've seen this a lot. Did you accidentally put your heat pump on emergency heat?
Yeah.
Just not thinking about it. So then all of a sudden you see your power bill jump up before it even gets real cold because it's heating the heat strips rather than the central.
Well, I was in
the
a
heat pump
house on
working.
Monday where they're upstairs. They had gas down and electric up, which is common. But they had a heat pump and had no idea that their heating system wasn't working.
Right.
Because whenever they turned on the heat strips would come on. Mm-hmm. And because it was the upstairs, kind of a Cape Cod style house, and in those houses, almost always, the downstairs heating system effectively, I should say, not efficiently, but effectively provides heat for the upstairs. So they think their system's running. But when I turned the heat on,
Yeah.
the condenser unit never came on, and I'm like, your system's not working.
Right.
I had no idea. So,
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up because sometimes if you're using those heat strips and they're providing heat, that'll definitely cause a power bill spike.
Oh yeah.
Very important to know. So these are some of the things to take note of. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to visit the Home Pros Radio Show news desk. We've got, we have more hanky-panky going on at a home listing. Yeah, and the cops there in town had fun with that. We'll check that out. Plus, do you know what could be happening in your bathroom every time you flush the toilet?
I know what happens before I flush the toilet.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about after. We won't get into that.
my
But
bad.
we'll get into that plus more when we come back on the Home Pros Radio Show.
Thanks for watching the Home Pros Radio Show. You know, Shane and I would love to know what you think of the show, so we'd like to invite you to leave us a review.
At the Home Pros Radio Show, it's our goal to keep homeowners entertained, inspired, and informed. So let us know how we're doing.
Your review helps us ensure that we're including the content you want to hear and that we're reaching out to more homeowners just like you.
So click on that review button and tell us what you think.
Your relationship with your home is an emotional one. Your home provides a sense of pride for you and your family. Through ongoing training, past experience, and current technology, RIC Home Inspections can provide you with the most reliable and accurate information available so you can enjoy the rewards of your home ownership. Call RIC Home Inspections at 235-5505 or visit us online at richomeinspections.com. That's 235-5505. RIC Home Inspections. Love where you live.
The Home Pros Radio Show is brought to you in part by Screen Mobile of the Piedmont. Established in 1982, Screen Mobile National has been around that long, and they're the nation's largest screen installation and repair company. They offer many different options for windows, screens, whether it's a corporate location or even a home residential location. They can bring their mobile units out to you and repair your screens, replace them, or even create a whole outdoor environment that you can use to keep the bugs out with their screens.
I've always been impressed with the tent one, the one
Yeah.
that keeps your siding from melting or your neighbor's siding from melting.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's saying tint with an I to help cool things down. Yeah, for those of you who are not in the
Not from
South.
South Carolina.
Exactly. And that'll protect, some of your outdoor building products like your siding from melting. That's a good point. I never
It's
even
not
thought
always a
about that.
grill. It can be a window.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So give Screen Mobile a call. There's a Screen Mobile in your area. You can visit them online at screenmobile.com. If you're in the upstate of South Carolina, call Screen Mobile of the Piedmont, 864-641-7476.
And we're back on the Home Pros Radio Show. I'm Tommy Donovan with RIC Home Inspections.
And I'm Shane Hips with Closing Contractor.
And it's time to visit the news desk. Let's hit the newsroom. I don't know if my stories are in the same order as our screen, so what do you have?
I have
Oh,
the
yeah,
toilet
the toilet
spray.
spray. All right, here we go.
Is that a bidet?
Yeah, that is a, well, no.
It's toilet spray.
You have a bidet? No, it was a good day. Anyway,
A good day.
That was bad.
That was
It
bad.
was a good day, not a bidet. Bidet. Okay, I get it.
You
was-
tried,
it
you
wasn't-
tried,
it wasn't
you
good.
tried.
All right, so this has been all over the news, and I wasn't sure if you'd seen it or not.
I haven't, but I don't watch the news either. So
Yeah, I watch too much news. I think that's one of my problems. Anyway, new video highlights an invisible phenomenon that deserves your attention. What are you saying over
Phenomenon.
there?
This has been going on forever.
Oh, I know.
I mean, it's not a new thing.
So I'm like, oh, let's cover this on the show because everyone's talking about it. Every time it comes on the news, she's like, oh, come on. Tell us something we don't know. So University of Colorado Boulder engineers pointed laser lights at a lidless toilet, and they studied the spread of fecal pathogens and health hazards associated with the toilet flushing. So that's the visual that we have behind us.
okay.
So that's up to 6 seconds after flush. So in other words, I guess you don't want to be Have you ever sat on a toilet while flushing it? I might not.
That's going to be.
I might not do that anymore. That's horrible. Oh, how many times you've been on a public toilet and the little sensor thinks you've gotten up? and it flushes while you're sitting on it.
Well, what about when you're in a public toilet and all the other toilets are flushing?
Oh, I know. Ugh. Okay. Yuck.
Yeah, I also don't use those blowing hand dryers. I don't use those. Like if that's my only option is one that goes. I
Well,
use
yeah.
my pants. I wipe it off
Well,
with my pants.
I do too.
I'll wash my hands and go. Because
But-
that air is coming from somewhere, and
That-
it doesn't have an intake somewhere else. The intake is in that room, I
Well,
think.
I'm glad you mentioned that because there was one of the shows that I saw this story covered on. They also kind of ripped on the air dryers.
Right.
So, okay, you go to dry your hands. If you have anything on your hands, you're going to put it under a blower that's going to just – you think this is spreading.
Right.
The toilet flush is spreading stuff throughout. What is the blower going to do?
Yeah, well, I'm worried about the intake air. It's sucking all that air out of that bathroom.
Oh, yeah.
To blow
And then
on
blowing it
blow-
all over your
That you
hands.
just washed. I just washed my
Hello.
hands. Now let me put it under
Very good
to
point.
suck all the air out. So, yeah, that's why the pants do just fine if there's not a paper towel of some sort.
That's what I think of the what is it called? The stuff you put on your hands, but you're not
Oh, the
washing.
antibacterials or not the soap, but the
Sanitizer?
Yeah. It's like all
hand
you're
san-
doing is rubbing everything together. You're not getting rid of anything.
Well, that's supposedly killing all the germs.
But what about all the other stuff?
I don't know. I tell you what I am worried about. You know those new hand cleaners that you dip your hands into them like blades. So it's like you put your hand down in and then they blow on you and you pull your hand out. You know those?
I don't think I've seen it yet.
Oh. You know what I'm talking about, right? They say that those are more filthy than anything else in a bathroom.
Okay.
That those don't. It's like this really scary game of Operation. Where you're
Okay.
like, don't touch the sides. It's horrible. And then it blows, and then you pull your hands out. And I'm always like, ugh.
Now, is this to dry your hands or to wash
No,
them?
to dry your hands.
Okay, I do know what you're talking about. I thought you were talking about to wash them.
Oh,
I was
not
like,
the
no, I
wa-
haven't.
no.
Was it got water jets? I know what you're talking
No,
about. No, yes.
but to dry your hands, and
Yes.
it blows, and then you
Yes.
kind of pull your hands out. I think this new device was supposed to be even cleaner, but they're finding out that it's
Yeah.
worse. But I'm always afraid. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
Anyway.
use any of them that blow air on my hands. So.
yeah. So Professor John Grimaldi, he's an ecological fluid dynamics and in the ecological fluid dynamics lab at Colorado University, said we expected aerosol particles would just sort of float up when they flush the toilet, but they shot out like a rocket. Research published in 2013 by the University of Oklahoma have found that fecal matter, along with various pathogens and water particles, can blast through the air and on surfaces after flushing the toilet.
You emphasize that.
Isn't that great?
Blast through the
I
air.
know.
Bam.
2021 study published in the American Institute of Physics found that closing the lid can help,
Yeah.
but droplets can still escape between the toilet cover and the seat.
Right.
She's
Do they not understand how like rainwater hits the ground and then it's
Splash.
It's there's air, everything.
Mm-hmm.
It just
I think I got the peanut gallery worked up here. Understanding the way these particles move is important for mitigating risks to pathogens like E. coli, noroviruses, adenoviruses. Yes?
I think they want us to go back to outhouses
I don't know. Maybe we should.
with no electricity. And
Do you feel like that this is an attempt to just find problems where we don't really need to find problems? I mean, we've been dealing with this for how long? What are we going to do?
well, I'd like to know how old this professor is. 'Cause
He's about our age.
Is he clear? I mean, how has he
Old.
I think, yeah.
This is not a new. This
Yeah.
is literally not a new concept.
I think the
at all.
point of this is that researchers are hoping that the study will lead to improved disinfection and ventilation strategies for toilet flush designs
But,
in order to reduce
Shane,
exposure.
does this not go right back to like our houses are so closed? There's not like air getting in to refresh the.
I
it's
would
The whole
That's a
same
good point.
concept.
I would assume so. I mean, we go back to the house as a system thing, but
Yeah.
everything we do,
Actually, go to the
affects
video.
something
I think I
else.
loaded the video. Did it work? No, I forgot to. Oh, there it
toilet
is.
spray.
Go ahead
Here
and
we
play
go.
that while we're talking. So that gives you a A little visual.
Let's
For
see.
those who are watching the live feed or the on YouTube, Facebook.
Oh gosh, it does shoot out, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I was thinking it just gradually. No, but it shoots out. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Um,
but I think I think that's one of the reasons why there are certain locations, and I don't know why we don't do this in homes, is to have the toilets that suck, like you flush it and it, those
Yeah.
really
Like in the
loud,
airplane?
obnoxious- Yes.
yeah,
Correct.
they're and in some commercial settings. Yeah, I
Yes.
know what you're talking about.
Yeah. They're
So-
loud and annoying, but they vacuum. They do the opposite.
Yeah.
So I wonder, that would be a good question for. I'd like to see them do this test on those toilets to see if the vacuum toilets
Yeah, that'd be
are
interesting.
more effective. Oh, here we go.
They're good. It's.
She thinks it does the same thing. I think.
I really do because they're
Anytime you disturb the air,
H2O. I mean, the air itself has water in it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're going to. Germs are not a bad thing, by the way.
yeah,
I mean, our bodies
If
are
everything-
meant to.
are meant to actually learn how to deal with those things. And if we don't,
We get sick.
and we get germs, we get sick
Yeah.
because our body's not used to handling them. Thank you. So the debate rolls on. Well, let's go to our next story. Oh, this is great. A pool
Oh,
party.
pool
This is
party.
a pool
Woo.
party. I should have put a question mark on it. A Florida realtor was stunned to find a naked couple,
Oh.
romping in the pool of a property that she was preparing to show.
Oh boy.
That's right. The Polk County Sheriff's Department had fun with this.
Were they
reported-
poking fun?
Ah, there we go. Ah, where is it? When I need it?
Oh,
that's
not that one.
very nice. Oh man! So the Polk County Sheriff's Office, they were poking fun. We're going to find out.
You probably had that written somewhere that you were going to try to do that. After
Yeah,
this thing, weren't
reported
you?
the startled. The agent pulled up to the empty home on December 5th. That doesn't matter. Saw a mysterious car in the driveway.
Okay.
Right. So knowing that no one was authorized to be on the property at the time, the suspicious real estate agent called 911.
Ooh.
So responding deputies found the naked and unafraid couple cavorting in the home's pool. The intruders told officers they had specifically come to the property for this reason and were unaware that their plan constituted a crime. What's wrong with fooling around in someone else's pool? They said. The 35-year-old woman and the 39-year-old man did not believe they were doing anything wrong, but guess what?
What?
Just what you would expect in Florida. The male participant was found to be in possession of. Very good.
Oh gosh.
Very good. Good answer. So he was messing around in the pool.
Oh, so you do have
at the
some.
scene.
There you go.
Both parties were charged with trespassing, according to the sheriff's office. Now that doesn't stop there. The funny thing, apparently, there's not a whole lot for the Polk County Sheriff's Office to do.
Okay.
Because they took this story, posted it on Facebook, but not only posted it on social media, they made a cartoon out of it. So go on to the next slide. We'll share it here.
Oh, we got a
Oh,
cut.
isn't that sweet? It's Sheriff Grady's story time, an ode to what the realtor saw. So they made a nice little comic out of it. So, can you believe that? Are you kidding me? Oh gosh. That must be a fun sheriff's office to work in. They're making comic books.
So the people just went over there to fool around in the pool.
The purpose of being there. Not only that, they parked in the driveway.
so
So the realtor pulled in and was like, I don't recognize this car. Why is this car here?
they thought that was perfully normal to
Fine.
just show up at someone else's house and go
Swimming
to,
in their pool.
Well, even just going swimming in somebody's pool that
know,
you don't.
right?
I mean, but yeah, then take it a step further.
Oh,
You know,
that is interesting.
that's strange. That's
What's
a different
wrong? What are we
different
doing?
mentality
What's the
there.
problem? What's the problem, Austin?
We came here to do this.
That's right, yeah. It's not like we were cooking out or anything. Jeez. All right, our final story this week. This is out of Asheville, right up above us. Asheville, North Carolina. How about this? North Carolina woman who heard a strange noise coming from outside her home was surprised to learn she was sharing the property with a bear.
Oh,
There's a bear in her backyard.
huh?
Well, if you look at these photos, you can tell why.
Oh yeah.
Time to get the weed whacker out, I think.
You can buy her
The
some
wi-
goats.
The, wi- The wildlife group Help Asheville Bears said Casey Vandergrift of Asheville contacted the group reporting that there were odd sounds. It might be an animal in trouble in her backyard. Jody Williams, he's the founder of HAB, Help Asheville Bears, visited the house and was surprised to discover the bear den and brush behind the house. Now, if you can look closely, I don't know if you could tell. I don't know how close you can pull this up, Ginger, on the screen, but in the picture to the right, you can actually see the bear looking out of the brush at the photographer. Williams said Vandergrift agreed to share her property. This is how good of a sport she is.
Okay.
I'll let the bear hang out back there. Let the bear hang out for the winter. She was concerned that the bear might actually be having cubs.
Right.
And that is actually what Jody Williams for HAB was maybe suggesting as well. So
she's not going to evict the bear till after
apparently
the
she
winter.
doesn't go out back there she doesn't build forts or anything back there and all that brush.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is, I watched the news story on it. She actually was out there on her back porch and she heard the noise, almost like an animal in pain, in agony or something, whining. So she was like, she was thinking it might be a dog.
Right.
So this was at night. She puts one of those like flashlight things.
Oh, gosh.
I forget what she called it. It was on her, and she went back there looking, and then she looked and saw this little hole, and there was. She thought it would be a dog.
And it
There's
was
a
a bear.
bear looking back at her.
Okay, I'm not going
Can
back
you
out there.
imagine? I would have freaked.
Uh-huh.
So, but yeah, she's being a good sport about it, so that's cool. She's definitely helping Asheville Bears. And HAB actually, in an online video, said that they're going to keep an eye on the bear for her.
Okay.
And then they'll report in the spring, and come January, if they're cubs, they'll let us know. So
Okay. So we'll have a follow-up on this one.
yeah, maybe. We'll keep an eye out for an update. So that wraps up our news update for this week. Time to talk about what we learned on the show today.
Broaden our mind.
We learned that it's probably a good idea to keep your yard trimmed in the backyard.
Yes.
You never know what might show up living in your backyard. Bears. Imagine we just did another story. That one was that one was out of that Colorado? No, it was Nevada, of the bear that was in a crawl space
Okay, yeah.
around Lake Tahoe. They are looking for places to stay. So make sure you clean up your yards. We learned that it is not legal to go romp in someone else's pool.
Yeah. Not without their permission. At
Yeah,
least.
not without their. You need to at least ask.
Even
Hey, is this
even
okay?
if the house is for sale, it's still not legal.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked a little bit about what can happen when you flush your toilet. So just be aware. Maybe I should do this one.
There you go.
You like that one better than our normal ring? What else did we learn? We learned that there are various places, various items that you can actually pinpoint if you suspect a power or a power spike, a power bill spike. Certain things you can look for: any deterioration, decomposition of your electrical system. If you have old appliances. And then also, what else? Oh, if you have too many things plugged in that you're not actually using.
Right.
So go ahead and pull those cords. Might save you some power. Also, it's just a few days from Christmas. We talked about tree care, Christmas tree care. Water temperature does not matter.
Correct.
Also, we're changing sound effects here.
Yeah,
Keep
good
trees
idea.
away from heat sources. And probably most important thing we learned today is if you have a loved one, friend, who has a birthday in December, do not wrap their birthday present in Christmas paper.
Absolutely.
You want to make them real mad. So that's it for this week's Home Pros Radio Show. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you next week. We're going to be covering some stuff, maybe some, how about this, another recurring topic on the show, resolutions
Okay.
for the new year.
Okay.
Homeowner resolutions, things to keep an eye on or take care of in the upcoming new year. Set yourself up right. We're always looking for a positive change, right? for the new
Absolutely.
year. And what you can do around the house to take care of our house better, improve our living spaces. Thanks for watching this week. Follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, at Home Pros Radios, where you can find us. Also, if you have a question for us, we'd love to cover it. Any suggestions on topics, shoot us an email, ask@homeprosradio.com. Thanks for watching us. We'll be back here next week on the Home Pros Radio Show.
Thank you for listening to the Home Pros Radio Show. If you have a question for the Home Pros, visit us online at homeprosradio.com, where you can also catch our podcast episodes and learn more about the topics and guests we bring to you each week. The Home Pros Radio Show is made possible by Prime Lending, RIC Home Inspections, Closing Contractor, Radon Recon, and Carolina Heating Service. If you are a trusted service provider in our area and would like to contribute to the show, send us a message through our Contact Us page at homeprosradio.com. Once again, thanks for listening to the Home Pros Radio Show.